Case 7. Joshu says, wash your bowls. Koan. Once a monk made a request of Joshu. I have just entered the monastery, he said. Please give me instructions, master. Joshu said, have you had breakfast? Yes, I have, replied the monk. Then Joshu said, wash your bowls. The monk had an insight. Mumon's commentary. Joshu opened his mouth and showed his gall-bladder and revealed his heart and liver. If the monk, hearing it, failed to grasp the truth, he would mistake a bell for a pot. Mumon's poem, because it is so very clear, it takes longer to come to the realization. If you know at once candlelight is fire, the meal has long been cooked. Continuing after case 1, we are now again having Joshu appear in case 7. The teacher of Joshu, Nansen, and Joshu himself were teaching Zen in a very real, practical way. A monk asked, what is Joshu's Zen? Joshu, who was working in the garden, was not paying any attention to the questioner. So the monk continued and said, well, so even in the place of Joshu, there is still dirt that needs to be cleaned. Joshu looked around at the monk and said, oh no, there again, dirt has fallen. Since the monk brought forth his concepts, the garbage in Joshu's place piled up, but the monk was bringing it with him. The monk continued, so what is Joshu's path? The path is our daily livelihood, washing our face, eating, going to work, that daily life which is being asked about here. If there are concepts on the path, it would be a rather uncertain, troublesome path to walk. No matter what appears, we need to stay immovable within, or else we cannot live a healthy life. So what is Joshu's path? The monk continued. Well, Joshu replied, right outside the hedge, you also walked along it. The monk replied, I'm not asking about a small path. I'm asking about the big path that everyone can walk. Joshu replied, oh, so you're asking about the big road. That road is right outside the gate. It is that big road that leads to the capital of Choan. The town of Choan is known because of its central place on the Silk Road. Already at that time, 1 million inhabitants were living there, and it was a central place for trade. Joshu replied, if you're searching for this big road, then just go outside the gate and you will find that road that leads to Choan. It is the famous words of Joshu. Everyone needs to awaken to their Buddha nature. Whether you are young or old, man or woman, you need to awaken to your Buddha nature. And these are the famous words left behind by Joshu. This koan takes place with a well-ripened old Joshu. Most likely, he was already over 100 years old. A monk asked this Joshu, I am a new monk. I ask for your guidance. Since he's taking the trouble to ask, the monk wanted to hear about that state of mind of this old Joshu, of how he would teach the truth. Or maybe he was hoping for some teaching in philosophy. He wanted to hear this directly from Joshu. He said to him, I have just entered your monastery. I am a fresh monk. Please give me a teaching. Yet Joshu replied, have you eaten breakfast? The monk had come to the monastery and wanted to know how to go about his own training. And Joshu asked him, have you eaten breakfast? And since he was asked, the monk replied, yes, I have already eaten breakfast. I have had a bowl of rice gruel, some okayu. Joshu said, if you have eaten rice gruel, then wash your bowls. In this moment, the monk was deeply struck. That is what it says in the koan. The monk maybe was expecting some high teaching, yet Joshu did not get caught on the question. Joshu simply asked, have you eaten breakfast? asking about this simple livelihood? Yes, I have. Eating plenty of rice gruel this morning. Now wash your bowls. Joshu was excellent in using words precisely. He was not shouting like Rinza, he was not hitting like Tokusan, but using those words well. These are not just words. In the Zen monastery, in the entrance, you will for sure find these words on a sign, "Put your shoes away neatly," so that no one needs to straighten them up for you. It is not about your shoes, but about your work. To leave something half done, also in your actual work, it cannot get finished in this way, and you cannot put this job aside. In each functioning, we need to always clean up as well after ourselves, so that we then again can prepare ourselves for the next job at hand. This is how it even works in society. How much more so for us as people of training. Don't leave tools lying around. Don't forget your broom anywhere. Finish your job well. Clean up after your job, and then you can say that this job has been done. Reading the sutras at the end of a meal full of thankfulness and then washing our bowls is part of finishing this job of a meal perfectly. To the very last point, we are cleaning up after ourselves. That is how a person of training should approach each functioning. Have you eaten? Then wash your bowls. We need to move in our daily life from this immovable place within, finishing each job perfectly. The same is true for our sitting of Zazen. We sit and our mind becomes more settled, and then we experience this true master within that can shine onto the world. That is the experience of truth, and for this experience of awakening, we sit Zazen. But once your mind has opened to then say, I have experienced awakening, that is not the point. Rather, returning to that state of mind of a beginner, or not getting high on yourself about having had some special experience. Forgetting this experience and sitting with everyone in oneness. To say that you have had some special experience is showing that you are still a beginner, rather returning to the simple mind always. Joshu was asked to show how this monk should go about his training, and what he replied is, after the functioning of eating, go and wash your bowls. These are not simple words. Just as Sanso Kanchi Zenji said, who is in the 3rd generation after Bodhidharma and wrote in the text on believing and mind, which was given as a present as part of the Shiboroku last year to everyone, with the 4 main Zen texts being the Zazengi on believing in mind, the 10 Oxfording pictures, and the Song of Enlightenment. These are the 4 texts which need to be studied by all people of Zen training. He said these famous words, the great way is not difficult, just let go of picking and choosing. That is this great path, which is the path for 7.7 billion people on this planet, holding hands, supporting one another. Just let go of like and dislike. From the beginning, humans are simple in mind, helping each other. We all have this mind. And if we can live from this mind, nothing else is needed. Then the pain of the other is our pain. The joy of the other is our joy. The suffering of the other is our suffering. If you can actualize this, then we will bring forth a world free from trouble, a peaceful world. That is our true source. We do our daily work. We eat, we work, and right there we end our day putting the futon out to sleep. That is how simple human's truth is. This is our mind of Zazen. No special concepts are needed. We just need to be sitting together. That is our truth. That is alive Zazen. Everyone has gathered here to sit Zazen. Zazen is not special. It is only about aligning the body, aligning the breathing, and aligning the mind. That is Zazen. To align the body is to not put any strength in the upper part of your body. Rather, let the energy gather in your tandem and then rise up with your head towards the sky, tucking in your chin slightly. And when you reach up to the heavens in this way, the trouble of your body gets resolved. This is how to align the body. To align the breathing is to not have a short or excited or noisy breath. Rather, breathe in a quiet, deep way. By doing this, your breath becomes aligned and all your 6 trillion cells of the body receive enough oxygen. This is what our breathing is all about. That is why it's so important to exhale all the way to the end of each breath. Not only the cells receive oxygen, but by breathing in this wind, you also settle your whole being. This is how you can actually use your breathing at work. This is called using harmonious breathing at work. Matching the breath is called being in harmony with others. The breathing is not just about absorbing oxygen, but it is about experiencing this expansive state of mind, using this harmonious work, using this harmonious breathing at your work with other people. This is how you can align your breathing. To align your mind, for this we need to let go of these many opinions and concepts. They are only an obstruction, and they did not exist when we were born. We need to let go of them. Of course, we do need to have thoughts when we do our task at hand, but these thoughts that disappear when the task is finished, they are the healthy thoughts. Those thoughts that continue, that are filled with imagination, even though there is nothing right in front of us, they are the ones that are an obstruction. The Buddha is called the one who has aligned well the body, the breathing, and mind. This is what a completed person looks like. Zazen is not about getting confused by extraneous thoughts, but it is about aligning the body, the breathing, and the mind. And then each person can become someone who can be truly believed in. This is how to align oneself. Aligning the body, aligning the breathing, aligning the mind. That, of course, is not enough. Once you have aligned yourself, you need to give life to this experience in the world. Take one step forward to align the world. This is how you can give life to your Zazen. After having experienced your own awakening, then bring this awakening to society. Your awakening is the awakening of society. The awakening of society is your awakening. Aligning your shoes, aligning your house, aligning your family, aligning your neighborhood, aligning your country. This is how to bring forth a peaceful world using your Zazen. Your alignment is the alignment of all. Joshu, when asked about how to go about his training, asked the monk, "Have you eaten?" "Yes." "Wash your bowls." These are no simple words. Wash your bowls. Align yourself. And if you want to not stop at being self-satisfied after having eaten, give that faith to others. Now you have eaten yourself, but then you wash your bowls. And that washing water, some of it you drink, some of it you give as offering to the plants, to the trees, to the vegetables. We directly support the surroundings. It cannot be left at self-satisfaction only. We need to actualize this in our daily life. Then the surroundings will become aligned as well. If your mind is aligned, then you are able to function free from ego attachment, being in oneness with the truth of the heavens. One of the last sutras that was taught by the Buddha at the age, after having taught for 49 years, he taught the sutra for 8 years, was the Lotus Sutra. And this Lotus Sutra is all about how all people, for certain, will become enlightened. That is why the Buddha said, one day sooner, everyone, please resolve this doubt about birth and death. Do not carry around imaginations and thoughts. That is why you always need to return to this fresh, alive mind that is free from limitations in each moment. As it says in a poem, there are roots, there are rocks, yet that water simply flows around them. That is how our Zazen is. Don't get stopped by the images and imaginations which arise in your Zazen, and don't search for anything special. Don't close your awareness, don't get stopped in your awareness. Like that water which flows, it does not rot, it does not freeze. No matter what limitations may appear, simply keep flowing in your mind. This is your healthy mind. As the sixth patriarch taught, it is the same as a teaching from the time of the Buddha. His school is a school of no thought. The body of the school is about not having any imaginations, and from there to not be moving whatsoever. That is the source of the functioning. We sit to not get stopped by anything, and that is why Joshu said, have you eaten? Yes, then wash your bowls. Our simple mind is about not creating any thoughts, not to get stopped by any imaginations. That is where our Zazen is alive. Don't get confused by anything, but rather return to this huge mind. And from there, you're able to align your family, align your friends, align your surroundings by not getting stopped by any concepts. That is how simple our Zazen is. And Joshu was able to teach this in these simple words.